As Steve said, I echo thank you, Anne-Marie and Michigan State for inviting us to the public policy forum. I love opportunities to speak with Peter and Steve. We've been working together over the last 3 to 5 years on these efforts, so it's great to be able to speak with them. As Steve mentioned, so I'm going to talk a little bit about some more of the programming that's going on, and then I'll talk about the Michigan Office for New Americans as well, and then we're going to get into some regional efforts that are going on. So, as Steve mentioned, there's a number of programs that have been born out of the Global Detroit Initiative, and a number of them surround the theme of being welcoming, a more welcoming state, including Welcoming Michigan and the Global Detroit Welcome Map. Additionally, the various leadership opportunities, Leadership Detroit, Leadership Oakland, Leadership Ann Arbor, are constantly looking for immigrants, foreign nationals to participate in those leadership programs and are encouraging individuals to apply. Welcoming Michigan is the Michigan chapter of a national effort called Welcoming America. And the Welcoming Michigan effort works to build immigrant-friendly communities by supporting receiving communities, which are communities where there are U.S.-born Americans who reside and the immigrants are settling into those communities. The initiative works on the west side of the state in Van Buren County and also on the east side of the state in Hamtramck, Sterling Heights, and the Chadsey-Condon area in Detroit. Welcoming Michigan hosts a wide variety of community events, everything from neighborhood cooking classes to Hamtramck's Mini World Fair. Welcome Mat Detroit is an online searchable immigrant integration network. It's a network of over 400 nonprofit service and cultural organizations. It's a searchable database. It's a wonderful tool for foreign nationals to use when they are looking to find where can I go to worship, where can I maybe find a grocery store, where can I find a healthcare provider who might speak my language. All of this type of information is loaded into the Welcome Mat. Again, it's searchable in many different formats and includes various services such as business assistance, citizenship classes, ESL, counseling, foreign language classes, healthcare, immigration legal services, and religious services, places of worship, etc. It's really a quite extensive network. As you heard Peter mention, there's also the Global Talent Retention Initiative, and we also partner with an organization called Upwardly Global. Peter had mentioned GTRI. Their focus is on international student retention. And as Steve mentioned earlier, there are shortages in the STEM fields, and an example of how the international talent can impact that shortage would be, and you've heard some of this information before, we're kind of, I think, overlapping with some of our statistics to kind of really hammer home the idea that our international talent is really important for us to retain from an economic development perspective. So more than 60% of the Michigan engineering PhDs who graduate are foreign-born, more than 60%. And for every 100 foreign-born advanced degree graduates, 262 U.S. jobs are created. So that's pretty significant. These statistics show the importance of retaining our international talent. GTRI also, as you saw in the video, has this Go Employer program, which is really helpful for international students who attend job fairs or looking at job placements and job postings. The Go Employer program does designate these employers as open to hiring international talent, no matter where the individual's country of origin might be from. So the logo notifies those international students that that employer is open. In addition, the Go Employer program helps employers in terms of connecting them with that talent, giving them access to immigration and cultural resources that might be relevant during the hiring process, and also trying to assist with connecting employers with potential legal counsel if needed for the hiring process. Upwardly Global is an organization that works with skilled immigrants who are in the United States. They actually partner with a number of us within Michigan. So Upwardly Global partners with Global Detroit, with the Michigan Office for New Americans, as well as with the Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. And they work with individuals who are either unemployed or what we call underemployed. So think about your physicians driving a taxi cab. That's a situation that is brought out quite often. So you've got doctors, engineers, scientists who had very successful careers in their home country. They are coming to the United States and only working in lower skilled jobs. They might be dishwashers, cashiers, as we mentioned, taxi drivers. And these internationally trained individuals have those STEM talents. A lot of them have the STEM talents that we need here in Michigan. So Upwardly Global works with those individuals to provide them with resume writing skills, job interviewing skills, all to help them with their job search and entry into the U.S. labor market. Putting these highly skilled immigrants back into their professional fields not only benefits the employers seeking to fill their demands in the vacant positions, but it also contributes to the larger economic growth of our country. And additionally, Upwardly Global has partnered with LARA, the Licensing and Regulatory Affairs, as well as the Michigan Office for New Americans, to provide guides on how to become licensed professional in the state of Michigan. Currently, there are 11 guides available on LARA's website, but those will be added too. And they are available for skilled workers, skilled immigrants to look and find out, how do I get licensed as a nurse or a physical therapist or an accountant or an engineer in the state of Michigan. So we come to the Michigan Office for New Americans. As you may all know, this is an office that was established very recently in January of this year. And the mission of the office is to help grow Michigan's economy by attracting and retaining global talent, to promote skills, energy, and entrepreneurial spirit of our immigrant communities, and to make Michigan a more welcoming state. Specifically, the office supports the governor's efforts with regard to immigration initiatives for the state. We coordinate the state agencies providing programs related to services for immigrants. We analyze and make recommendations to the governor on state and federal policies and programs. And we also lead the Global Michigan Initiative. As Peter mentioned in his slides, the Global Michigan Initiative is a collaborative statewide effort to retain and attract international advanced degree and entrepreneurial talent. And we do this by developing sustainable partnerships with a variety of stakeholders, including state agencies, immigrant service providers, ethnic chambers, and economic development organizations. And we also advocate for more welcoming immigration policies at both a state and local level. Michigan's coming back, right? So why immigration? Why now? Why all of us? Well, because Michigan has a long history in welcoming immigrants. Immigrants are job creators, as Steve mentioned, and contribute economically and culturally to our greatness. And our highly educated foreign student population is really what Michigan needs right now as to be part of the solution for our future economic growth. As Steve mentioned, Michigan has lost an estimated 800,000 jobs during the decade of 2000 to about 2010. However, since 2010, Michigan's gained about 255,000 private sector jobs. During the decade indicated, we were the only state in the nation to lose population. However, we have grown slightly in 2013, which is great. But, and this is, Steve mentioned this or alluded to this as well, by 2040, nearly 25% of our population will be 65 years or older. We do have an aging population. And economist Don Grimes from U of M said, we're going to run out of people of working age. So we have to look at what possible solutions we have to fill our talent needs within the state. And some of that can be a benefit from having a practical and sustainable immigration strategy. So just to provide some additional information on what we're trying to build on is, over 30,000 businesses in Michigan were immigrant owned in the last decade. And in 2010, new immigrant businesses had a total net income of $1.8 billion, which is about 9.2% of all net business income in Michigan. At U of M, 2/3 of the university patents had at least one immigrant inventor, which goes along with what Steve was saying about a nationally looking at patents. And immigrants founded 1/3 of Michigan high-tech startups over the past decade. That's a rate, as we've said, of 6 times the rate of native-born high-tech startups. And as Peter mentioned, there's immigrants excel in education as well. So 36.6% of Michigan's foreign-born population of age 25 and older have at least a bachelor's or higher degree, compared to 24.7% of native-born persons of the same age group. Additionally, as was mentioned, approximately 2.5 jobs are created for each foreign-born individual who has an advanced degree. In business and in education, foreign-born have the ability to positively impact our state and our state's economic development. As Governor Snyder said, one of the keys that makes us successful in the past is going to, again, be the key to the future, and that's immigration. There are many other regions that are interested in immigration as part of the solution for economic development and urban revitalization. And last year, a group of organizations joined together to form the Global Great Lakes Network. And Steve's going to provide us with some more information on what the other regions are doing as well.
So I'll be very quick, but you can go to, by the way, all our stuff you can find at globaldetroit.com or .net. We're not a .org for whatever reason. That was taken. But Global Great Lakes, globalgl.org. And so we had 150 people from about 12 different metros last year in Detroit for the first Global Great Lakes convening. We are reconvening in Pittsburgh in June 11th through the 13th. There's Global Detroit. Vibrant Pittsburgh. So the other thing I have to say is that everything you're going to see essentially has started since 2010. So we're actually a couple years ahead in most of these programs. So 2 years ago, Pittsburgh created Vibrant Pittsburgh. Last year, St. Louis launched St. Louis Mosaic. And they're all different structures. Many of them are private nonprofit initiatives like Global Detroit. Those last two were. About 3 years ago, Welcome Dayton came out. It's really run by the city. Global Lansing, Peter alluded to, it's a couple years old. Global Cleveland launched 2 years ago, a private nonprofit initiative. Indianapolis Welcoming Center, they've actually been around for a while, but are recalibrating to be more economic development focused. 2 years ago, Mayor Rahm Emanuel in Chicago launched the Office of New Americans. The Columbus New Americans initiatives had also been around for a while. They are retooling to be more economic development focused. We've added since then Toledo and Lucas County, the One Macomb initiative from County Executive Mark Hackle, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Buffalo, New York, the Office of Globalization in Louisville, Hartford, Connecticut, and then of course there's Global Michigan, and there's in the first State of the State address that Governor Snyder mentioned this. Said immigration is a great state and it made us a great state and great country. It's that time we embrace this concept again as a way to speed our reinvention. So I'm just going to leave this slide up here, and I think that's the end. But that's what Tom Friedman had to say about this. But James Fallows, Tom Friedman, others have said that Americans' economic future is really hinged on two things: education, our global leadership with really the best universities in the world. And if you go to any world rankings on where the top universities are, they're predominantly in the United States. And our ability to attract immigrants. We really do attract the wealthiest, the best, and the brightest, and it's how we've re-energized our economy for the last several centuries. And this state right now, among that network that I just went up there, we're seen as a leader. We're the only one with a state office like this, but all of those developed organically. So it was, at one point I thought maybe I was just some, sort of nerdy researcher coming up with these realizations. But what you're seeing is that other nerdy researchers, I guess, and other Chamber of Commerce types and other business people have begun to figure this out. That we in the Midwest, in the Rust Belt, have a particular experience with immigration in the 21st century. And it's different what is dominating the national headlines. And as with great research universities, as former industrial areas, we are huge, and losing population, we are huge beneficiaries from international immigration, and we ought to be organized to take advantage of that. So thank you.